Hey, everyone, I'm Brian Kozak, the Sheriff of Laramie County.
Jason Caughey, Fire Chief of Laramie County Fire Authority.
So we wanted to spend a little bit of time with you and talk about this Senate File 69
Correct.
and how, if it's passed the way it is without amendments, then how it would impact our departments. So one of the things we want to say right up front is we both live in Laramie County. We both own homes in Laramie County. We support a reform on property tax, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure you do too, right, Chief?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about agreeing or disagreeing with that there's needed reform with taxes. It's just this current bill has got specific risk to it that we're not addressing.
Yeah. So with this current bill, it slashes personal property tax by half, by 50%, and without any consideration of the other income sources or revenue sources that the state has. So the state controls the way local governments get their money, completely controls it. So local governments, counties, municipalities cannot do their own tax. So they rely on the state to help them with their funding.
Right. And I think the two big pieces of this. One, in our case, fire districts are governed by a 1947 bill that maxed the amount of tax that we could collect at 3 mills, which is significant for us to say that was set in 47. The other part of that is state government's not affected by this. This really impacts county and local jurisdictions more so than anything else. No state government's getting cut, but it is going to impact your local government and your local agencies.
Yep, your first responders, those in public safety, that's who it's going to impact. And at the same time, which we thought is kind of, it's not fair, it's not right really, where state government is looking at increasing their size, looking at bringing on more employees and increasing their budget by over $100 million. While they're going to cut our budget. So a lot of people have said, well, find ways to with that budget cuts, find ways to make it work without affecting employees. Well, when you're looking at proportionally in Laramie County, at least for the sheriff's office, I'm looking at possibly a $2 million cut out of my budget. And the only way to do that is to reduce jobs and services and different programs that we have. Now, I don't want to create any fear because we would still be out there responding to calls. We'd still staff our patrol. We'd still staff the jail. But some of the special things that we do, so for example, our juvenile services center, we have a crisis center. Mm-hmm. We don't have to do that. We do that to help the community. So that's one thing we're not required to do, so we could eliminate that program. Another thing that we do is we have a school resource deputies now out in Burns High School. We have one in Pine Bluffs. We have one at large here in District 1. That's something we don't have to do, so we could cut that so that we make sure patrol is staffed up where it should be.
Yeah, and we're a little different just because of the fact that we're heavily dependent on volunteers, right? So we have about 120 volunteers and only 12 paid staff. And with the call volume increase over the last decade, that significance in being able to respond in a timely manner is a challenge. Now, babies aren't going to die, let's face it. We're still going to respond with the dedication of the volunteers in the county. But we are going to lose that initial quick response out the door because it's going to cut our staffing. If this proposal goes through without any other revenue streams, essentially our 12 full-time employees, we're going to have to assess how we manage to fund those. It's going to take us back to 2010's budget. In 2010, we didn't have any paid staff. We had all volunteers, and we did about a third the call volume that we do currently. So just the growth in Laramie County, our citizens' needs in Laramie County has warranted that staffing, which is now jeopardizing it because of the pay cuts or because of the salary cuts.
Yeah, so as sheriff, you elected me to look out for your interest and to really look out for the men and women who are doing the job, responding to the calls in public safety, and that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm bringing this to your attention so that you can do your research. And really, I think we're asking our legislators to look at another option besides cutting from first responders. So we're looking at just another option. And another thing too, this is just a temporary 2-year thing. So why aren't our legislators coming up with some permanent reform with the property tax instead of just this Band-Aid approach? Let's get in there and fix it and do a good job with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd just like to add, I absolutely agree with the sheriff, and it's great that we can join forces on getting this message out there. You as a citizen in Laramie County are governed by that 3 mills. That's 3 cents for every $1,000. So on a $500,000 house, it's $150 a year that you're paying for fire and EMS to come to your location if you have an incident. When you look at that proportionally, that's relatively inexpensive. You probably spend more than that at Starbucks a month, let alone a year. Now, on the flip side of that, we have to be responsible with your dollars, and we're attempting to do that, but it's tough. So I think without some sort of reform to the whole system, just doing a blatant across-the-board cut and reduction is going to jeopardize the services that we provide in Laramie County.
Yep. No matter what happens, we're going to do our best. We're going to do.
Yep.
We're going to give you good service. But we just wanted to be out there and be honest with you to let you know there is going to be an impact, and you will feel it if this goes through. So please do your research and reach out to us if you got any questions. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.